Welcome to episode 3 of Four Guys on a Chesterfield.
Beautiful.
This is episode 3.
It is. 3, yes.
The first one didn't count.
Okay.
So, we've got Aaron at the end, we've got Paul, and another very special guest, Bob Spencer. Hi Bob, welcome.
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 Thank you. We did this earlier. We did the welcomes.
Yeah.
Earlier. Now we're just pretending to do welcomes.
That's right.
How are you, mate?
Great.
So we're going to run through a few things. We're working on a few projects with Bob at the moment, which we're pretty excited about. So let's start out. I mean, most people know that you've done Skyhooks and
The other band.
Yeah, the other band.
The other band.
The Angels, just that little band.
The Angels. The
Angels.
The Angels.
Yes,
So-
I did that. I started playing much earlier than Skyhooks. The band I was in when I was at school started properly gigging when I was 14 or 15, and we recorded our first album when I was 15. Yeah, that was a band called Finch, a Sydney-based band, and I was in that band till I left school, the equivalent of year 12, sixth form, and the year after that, that band moved here to Melbourne.
Yep.
And as Shirl said, we were going around in circles, and he's right, we were going around in circles. So when the offer came to join Skyhooks, I didn't immediately take it. It became a good opportunity to think about what I really wanted to do before I said yes. Of course, I eventually said yes, but it was good being asked because it forced me to think about where the band I was in was going, and that actually has informed, that process of thinking about that has informed lots of decisions I've made since then.
Okay.
You know, what's the point of what I'm doing? There doesn't have to be a point, but if you're going to invest a lot of time and energy into a band, I guess there should be a point.
Yeah, well, probably for a lot of bands there isn't that kind of pre-thought,
Yeah.
is there? It's just, let's get together and play some music.
Yeah, and then there's an assumption that everybody is in the band for the same reason, which
Yeah.
is far from...
Very, very rarely that would be the case.
Very rarely,
Yeah.
but bands understandably don't really want to find out why everybody else is in the band, because if they do it might be a bit scary.
Yeah.
So they mostly shy away from doing that,
Yeah.
which, as I said, it's understandable. But if you're doing this for a living, it's those, if there are issues with why someone is in the band, it can really destroy things.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that highlights to the process of thought when you become a professional musician as opposed to when you're kind of just, playing in regular bands and stuff like that. The mentality kind of shifts. You've got to think about it from a different angle, right?
Well, I'm assuming other people do, but I
Yeah.
never did, because I took it for granted very early on that I was going to be a professional musician.
Yeah, okay.
I don't remember when, but I must have been, I guess, 12 or 13 when I thought, yeah, this is really what I want to do.
Yeah.
My parents had me lined up to go to university and all that sort of stuff. They weren't terribly disappointed that I chose music.
Yeah.
They were, I think, ambivalent about my choice to be a musician. On one hand, they were proud of me when I achieved things. Oh, they didn't tell me. Well, my father never told me. But on the other hand, there were things about being a musician that they didn't really like. I never had any serious discussions with my parents about anything, actually. So I just
It was just on your way.
slotted into being a musician.
what you did.
And,
So did you ever stray off that path? Have you always been 100%
Yeah.
I'm a musician?
yeah, there was a time when I had a job doing something else which lasted about 3 minutes, but I've been a musician.
Yeah.
And in the times where I was just earning nothing, I was on the dole after Skyhooks. I was just lost. I didn't really know what to do. By that stage, I was hell bent on staying a musician.
Yeah.
So I did, and then the Angels thing happened. I called Rick Brewster, who'd been a friend of mine for a very long while. We'd known each other since the Angels moved to Sydney from Adelaide.
Yep.
And I was working as a recording engineer at the time. So I called Rick and said, how's it going? We used to talk amps and guitars and all that. And I said that I was working in a studio and I'd be happy to record some demos for them if they wanted. And then I said, so how's it going with you? And he said, oh, John just left the band. I said, oh, well, if you need a guitar player, let me know. And then kind of the next thing I was in the band.
Right.
So that was the Angels.
Yeah.
After the Angels, what did you do?
Midlife crisis.
Midlife crisis.
Midlife crisis. I formed a band, which was a great band at the wrong time,
Yeah.
and fraught with personality issues. It was a very good band, but on a personal level, it was a disaster. And then after that, I floundered. I was just lost. I was really lost. I had years of not really knowing what to do, and I ran a home studio,
Yep.
which was great because I love recording.
Yep.
And then in 2001, my wife and I moved to Melbourne, and all this.
I suppose now is probably a good time for those that are watching that haven't actually done the program or heard about the program. Do you want to just give just a very quick rundown of what the actual program involves?
Sure. So the program is called Weekend Warriors, and it's for people who are not professional musicians. Professional musicians should be out doing professional musician stuff. So we get through the program people who have been generally playing for a number of years, playing at home, who are not gigging. The ages are really broad. Last program we had
17-year-old. Yeah.
17 to 70.
To 70, yeah.
17 to 70. And the people that we have come through the program, they just want to be involved in a band for a month. It's 4 rehearsals, which I coach around the corner, KC's. So we put the bands together from people who have been brave enough to come to a jam, an introductory jam. We put bands together. These people don't know each other. The bands have around 5 members, and I coach them for 4 weeks, 1 night a week for 4 weeks, 2 hours. Each of those is a 2-hour session, and the goal is to play a half an hour's worth of material at the gig, and that's what I help them achieve. We have an end goal, which is a half-hour set, songs of their choosing, your choosing, and I just help them get there. That's what my job is, to help them get there. Playing in a band requires different skills really different skills from playing at home.
Absolutely.
And you need to respond to other people's playing, and they are responding to you. So even when we try and copy a song, say we're playing a cover of a song, whatever, and the members in the band are trying to do their best to copy the record, we may need to massage that a little bit, because that group of 5 or 6 people plays differently
Absolutely,
from the band on the record. It has different skills, they respond differently to each other. So, but that's cool. The idea is to get it going through 4 rehearsals so that we get to the gig, and at the gig everybody enjoys themselves and has a blast, and that's really what it's about.
It's life-changing too. I mean,
It has been for some
it's taking some people out of their comfort zones and putting them somewhere they would never have been before. And a lot of people grow from it. And
sometimes they find a person in there they didn't know was there.
yeah,
Once they put them on the stage.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And bands, some of the bands actually stay playing, and I get phone calls from guys who, you know, 3 of the 4 or 3 of the 5 want to keep playing. They just might need a bass player. I then go and try and find them one. But yeah, I think there's 3 or 4 bands still playing now from the last 3 months.
Yeah,
Which is good.
that's a great thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's try to stay together and manage the course.
Yeah.
It's always fun.
Yep. And then you do some of that on your own as well. You do mentoring outside Warriors, don't you?
I do the occasional band coaching, and I have taken on a few students. I can't do too much in the way of individual teaching at the moment because I'm finishing my solo album that I've signed up with Rose Tattoo.
Yes.
And there are now gigs planned into 2019.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is great.
Is everyone going to make it that far?
Is everyone going to make it that far? That's a good point. I started training again a couple of weeks ago, so hopefully I will. So that's the plan, is to...
Nice.
Well, we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah.
It's a good resume, actually.
It's funny.
Skyhooks and The Angels and now Rose Tattoo.
It's
the ultimate Aussie. The ultimate Aussie rock band resume, right? So.
I'll have to get a little card made.
I saw a video the other day of you playing with Ted Mulray gang as well.
TMG.
Yeah.
Well, they're old friends of mine. I love those guys. I love them. And Les Hall, the guitar player, is a hero to me.
Yep.
I have stolen so much stuff from Les, and I gush like a schoolgirl, you know, and blush when I speak with him. It's because he's Les Hall.
Yeah.
He doesn't get it. It's like my other hero, Doug Ford, the guitar player from the Masters Apprentices.
Yeah.
I was on the phone with him a month or so ago. I'm having an amp made in Doug's honour, so I rang Doug to tell him about it. And I said something that he didn't quite get, and I said, yeah, that's because you're Doug, you don't get it. So when you speak with your heroes, they're just going, I don't really get it.
They just think they're normal guys.
Well, yeah, they're a bit,
They are,
but you know, I'm gushing and tripping over my words and you know, hoping I'm not annoying them, but I'm going to call them anyway. So I got to play with TMG and Les Hall, and that was really
Nice.
Oh, it was great. I adore playing with Les. He is one of my 2 favourite all-time Australian rhythm guitar players. Huge influence on the way I play. The other is Mark Tinson, who's from Newcastle. So they're both from that neck of the woods.
Cool.
And so you know, I get to play with someone who has inspired me, terrifically inspired me.
And
it's wonderful.
And I think that's a feeling that a lot of the guys who are doing the Warriors program get from playing.
Which I don't
your
get.
mentorship.
I'm like Les and Doug. I just don't really. I try and be objective. I look back at the, you know, the albums and awards and all that stuff, but it's like it's somebody else. It's just weird.
Yeah.
It's just weird. It's nice. It's nice, but it's weird.
It's a funny story because actually last round of the Warriors, I had a couple of friends that came to the jam day and they didn't know. They were under the impression that it was a Bob Spencer workshop.
Oh yeah.
So, and they're professional musicians, they're gigging musicians, so they weren't expecting, you know, like a couple of my friends rocked up, they pulled out their notepads, they were ready to go.
Oh, really?
So remember Adrian?
Yeah.
So they were hoping for that Bob Spencer workshop.
Which brings us to
Perfect segue. Yeah. So we've been in discussions and trying to work out what more we can do to put together, because I like working with you and you seem to like working with us.
I do.
So we've come up with the workshops concept.
And we have our first one next year.
No. Well, we have our first one next month.
Is that next month?
We put one in for November.
Or next year.
Yeah.
Or both.
So we're kind of a trial run.
Is it really next month?
Put one
Yeah.
in.
I'm honestly surprised.
November
16th of November.
16th,
Okay.
which
And I am here, agreed? Yeah, right,
Yeah.
good.
You're on
Okay,
camera
so
now.
that's a good thing.
so yeah,
We'll
that's-
confirm this later. But
this is the one that we put down that we've asked everyone to give input on what they'd like to.
And how's that going?
There's a few people telling us what they'd like to
Yeah.
like to see going on.
Yeah.
We've limited. It's limited to
30
I
people.
think 30 people for the
Right.
first
Anyone
one
else
who's
So
watching this and
if you
wants
wanna
to
come
come
along,
down to Bob's
call the
workshop.
shop.
Yeah. So we're
Yeah.
kind of running this first one as a pilot to see what we can come up with.
Yep. And it's
then-
free.
It is free.
It's
Number
free.
1 is free. Number 2 isn't.
It's free. Back to number 1, it's free. So come along.
Yeah, but the idea is we'll get some structure into something a bit more in the new year and try and get something running fairly regularly.
An overview for me will be playing in a band, because I think that's ultimately where people want to end up, is playing in a band. So there'll probably be some stuff about that. The truth is I haven't written it out yet, so I don't know, but it'll be fun. It'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you tell us you're on your solo album. Is this the first solo album?
Yeah, after all these years of writing songs, and I was the writer of the music in the first band I was in when I was 14 or 15. I didn't write anything in Skyhooks, that was all Greg McCage's thing.
Yeah.
But I was also the major songwriter along with Rick Brewster as a pair in The Angels, and I've never done anything just for me before. So I thought it was high time I did at this age, so I've just completed my first solo album. There is a little bit of info on my website, which is bobspencer.com.au, and it goes off to the CD joint next week.
Right.
Okay.
So I hope to have it all back by the end of November.
Great present for Christmas.
Yeah, well, end of November. Yeah, and that's been a wild experience. I've never done anything 100% by myself before.
Yeah.
So it's been really, really hard, way harder than I thought. Not having anyone to argue with, or to get feedback
or
from.
for inspiration, or
No, as far as ideas go, I'm flooded with ideas,
Okay.
and I have too many.
Yeah.
But knowing how to cull them is or where to cull and what to cull. That I find that really difficult, and I realise that even though being in band, let's face it, can be a pain in the arse, there are a lot of good things about the friction that you have in a band, and also when you're in a band, you're not in the studio. Generally, you're not in the studio 100% of the time. Like if someone's doing some engineering stuff, you'd go out and have a cup of coffee. Whereas I'm doing everything myself. There is none of that.
There's a lot of delegating when it comes to being in a band, which I think
A
can be
successful
helpful.
band.
Yeah.
That's positive,
And it's helpful in some ways. You're like,
Yeah.
like, how have you found the process? Like, because I know, like, doing it myself, it's hard to relinquish, the power.
Yeah.
And it's also the tough part about it is also knowing when to let a song go, or as you probably know, when it's right.
Yeah, which it never is. So a great quote I heard is, art is never finished, it's simply abandoned. So it's when do you abandon your album?
Yeah.
And in the old days of having a record company, even though that came with it a lot of very negative things, one really good thing was timeframes.
You had a
deadlines.
This is what I mean.
So, the album needs to be finished. The biggest album that the Angels had was called Beyond Salvation, and Rick and I stayed in Memphis. We were the major songwriters, so we were there all the time. Until the completion date, which was something like the 22nd of December, and then I got home in time for Christmas. But that was the date that the album was finished, because a record company plans ahead, artwork,
promotion,
record production,
PR,
promotion,
Yeah.
all that stuff, and it's all planned ahead. these days we do things ourselves, and it's a bit like, yeah, maybe I'll finish it tomorrow.
Yeah. And I had that conversation with a friend recently. We were talking about, it's very common these days, even for big bands and popular bands, to, you know, they'll maybe debut a single, but you won't see the album for like a good another year, and that's probably because they have a lot more flexibility with time frames.
And it's a real problem.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword, that having a studio at home, and you know, I have really great quality staff. That's lovely. I can record whenever I want, but I can also spend 6 hours fixing something that didn't need to be fixed.
Yeah.
You're the only person that ever had noticed
And
it.
I'm the only person who knows it. It's,
Exactly.
So there's this balance, trying to achieve a balance. So
Music.
people outside our industry, they think, how long is it going to take you? How they think in those sorts of terms.
How did you
Get too
find?
close to it.
How did you find with Skyhooks playing in a band where Greg did all the writing?
Oh, it was fabulous. He's such a good songwriter.
Oh, he is.
So that was it. That
Yeah.
he was such a good songwriter that I never had issue with anything.
Yeah.
He's in my opinion, he's the best Australian songwriter we've ever had.
Yeah.
One of the best songwriters on the planet,
Yeah.
not just Australia. So I just added Bob to things,
Bob bits. Yeah.
Bob bits. But I found it really, really easy, and it was challenging.
Yeah.
Because Greg comes up with things that suit his fingers that may not suit my fingers. So it was challenging. It was a long while ago. It was 40 years ago.
Yeah.
It was challenging, but Skyhooks provided for me the best education I've so far had. That 3 years that I was in the band. That was intense, and I learned a lot of stuff from Greg. That I've taken
With
me.
Yeah.
In terms of songwriting, how to get a message across. You know, I'm just a novice, really, but Greg's songwriting is so clear and succinct.
Yeah.
There was a lot to be learned from that. And a great band. Freddie, incredible drummer.
Yeah.
Shirl, God, I don't have a single complaint about Shirl or his singing. He was an unbelievable singer, and Starkey's Chuck Berry thing was fantastic. It was great fun. It was really good. It wasn't like, I don't listen to that sort of stuff, really. I don't know if there is anything else like it, really.
No, they're kind of one of a kind, really.
I don't listen to music like The Angel. The assumption that I listen to that sort of music, that I don't.
No.
I'm not really a fan of, I would never listen to Guns N' Roses or...
So, if Bob goes home after a long day,
What do I listen to?
what goes on?
What do I listen to?
British rock.
What kind of day he's
I
had.
do like British rock. Well, yesterday I was listening to the Kinks and the Who, and I'm a huge jazz fan, although I don't play jazz and I don't pretend to play jazz, but I'm a huge jazz fan. So saxophone players, Lester Young, John Coltrane, Ben Webster, Gene Ammons.
Do you think they influence your guitar playing at all?
They influence how I think
'Cause that's
things
a
should
common-
sound,
Okay.
but I don't learn their licks. Oh,
Yeah.
and Thelonious Monk. Monk is the piano player, huge hero. So a lot of Monk has rubbed off on me in terms of the timing of the way he plays solos.
Yeah.
So when I play solos, I don't think of only the notes. I think of the groove of the solo. So occasionally I tap my solos out to double check that they're interesting. Monk had a huge effect on me. I was blown away the first time I heard Thelonious Monk. So jazz players have a big effect on me, really big effect on me, but I don't learn their stuff.
I suppose one question I've got for you is, advice for anybody out there looking to play in their first band or are in bands.
Yeah.
Obviously, 2017 is very different to 1975 or 1977. Any advice that you've got now for people?
I'd say
to?
find a teacher.
Yeah.
I still say find a teacher. Yes, there's a lot of good stuff on YouTube, but it's overwhelmed by bad stuff on YouTube. So I would say find a teacher. But a teacher who resonates for you will make sense to you. If a teacher doesn't make sense or can't explain themselves, then find another teacher. A teacher doesn't have to be a good player. One of my friends is a teacher at TAFE, and he had a smart-ass kid in class, and my mate said to the kid, he was a guitar player. It was a music class though, not a guitar class. The kid was a guitar player, and my mate said, who's your teacher? And the kid said, I don't have a teacher, I teach myself. And my mate said, so it would be fair to say that your teacher doesn't know any more than you do. Often when I have a student, I pick up something with their left or right hand really quickly. They have no idea that they're doing that because there's no one observing them. They're trying to copy something on a video, and that's lovely, and they do it diligently, and they try to get it right, but 9 times out of 10 they'll be doing something really wrong, but they don't know that because they don't know what to look for.
Yeah.
So they'll keep doing it.
They'll keep doing it.
And it becomes a problem.
And then they wonder why they're not making any progress.
Exactly.
During the course of the Warrior program, guitar players, every program, come to me afterwards and compliment me on what they've learnt through the program. We had one player in the last program who, after the second rehearsal, said to me he had learnt more in 2 sessions with me, that's 4 hours, than he had in years of guitar lessons.
Yeah.
And it's not because I'm a genius, it's because my thing is to hone in on
And maybe the teacher that he's got isn't the right teacher for him.
And that's what I was going to say. I think when finding a teacher, you need to find from experience someone who, as you said before, resonates with you.
Yeah,
which is such an important thing, because a lot of young musicians will give up very early if they get a teacher that they may be good for someone else, but for them in particular, it just doesn't connect, and then they don't like guitar anymore.
Well,
They put it down, and
there's stats out there that say, I think it's something in the vicinity of 70% of people who buy their first instrument give up within 12 months.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of kids give up immediately after school, which is a terrible thing. In my opinion, it doesn't really matter what a kid wants to play. Anything the kid wants to play is a door. It's a doorway. It's the entry into music with a capital M. So if the kid wants to play rock or reggae or funk, let them do it. And then it's up to the teacher to find out how to help that kid through the music that they like. If they want to play folk music, let them play folk music. But that business of that cookie cutter, no, you're going to play the theme from Shaft forever. Well, that's great for the 2 kids who actually want to play the theme from Shaft. But for the rest of the other 20 kids who are in the ensemble, it sucks. So that's a personal thing for me. I'm very keen on trying to help kids, because I believe that music is an incredibly important part of our culture. So, after I'm dead and gone, it's not to do with me having a great environment now. I want a good environment for kids in the future, because I think that music is of huge value to our culture, to society, to every culture.
Absolutely.
So I'm all for helping kids somehow get involved in and stay involved rather than quit. There are so many kids who start an instrument at school, as you know, and it's the instrument that their parents chose. And that brings us to the Weekend Warriors. What we have are a lot of people who regret having given up music
Absolutely.
when they went to university or they started a family.
When life got in the way.
Life got in the way, and at the beginning they didn't play for a day, or then they didn't play for a few days at a stretch, and then they didn't play for a few weeks at a stretch, and then a couple of months, and then they find that it's just sort of quietly, quietly come up on them that they don't play for years at a time.
We know you tinker a bit.
I tinker endlessly.
Yep.
Yes.
So
I'm a geek. So I can't help myself. I do what I call solder therapy.
yeah. Okay, so it's amps, guitars.
Amps. I'm rebuilding amps all the time. Although I've been a good boy, I haven't rebuilt an amp for, I reckon, about 3 months now, which is some sort of record.
Jeez, you need
Some sort of
some
record.
help, huh?
My name's Bob, and I build amps.
Yeah, that's right. I need help. But anyway,
So
where are we going with that?
have you got a favourite bit of kit?
The guitar that I like at the moment is a Chinese Tokai copy of an SG,
Yep.
in which I've put an Australian pickup made by Chris Kinman. The other pickups I use are made by Mick Briley. Here's a Mick Briley t-shirt, Mick B. He's from Adelaide. I've been using that for non-stop for, I don't know, at least a year now.
Yep.
And
Expensive?
retail,
Thousands?
thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
I think it retails at $600.
Get out of here.
And I can, and we did the Guitar Expo
Yep.
just
Yes.
recently,
Yep.
Yep.
and I can guarantee that I was playing the cheapest guitar on stage
Yeah.
out of all the guitar
Ooh.
players. I can guarantee that. And did I sound terrific?
I know a few.
Of course
Well,
you did,
yes, I
Bob.
did.
I know a few people who will be impressed by that comment there.
You don't need to buy a really expensive guitar, but
It's
it
gotta be
needs to be
decent.
needs to be well made and feel good in your hands. Look pretty. I don't want to pick up a guitar that looks ugly, like a potato or something.
And it comes down to
So
the player
it-
too.
Yeah, it needs to look like I want to pick it up. It needs to feel good, and sound good. So this particular Tokai resonates really well.
So, do you have an axe collection?
Not much, no.
No?
I'm one of those guys who threw L series pickups in the bin and stuff like that because they didn't sound very good and no one thought to keep them
Yeah.
back at the time. So no, I don't have a collection. I have, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 guitars. I'm not really sure,
Yeah, okay.
but not like a
Yeah.
collection. I have 3 Tokais, about to get a 4th. Do I have 3? Yeah, 3, about to get another one. Custom made guitar. Another custom made guitar I'm about to get from a friend of mine in Queensland. As far as amps go, I use amps made by Ivan Richards, who is in Gosford.
Okay.
And he does beautiful work, and he's one of the nicest people on the planet. I've used a few stomp boxes, mostly Australian made. In fact, I think they're all Australian. Yeah, pretty sure they're all Australian made.
Yeah.
Michael Ibrahim, MI Audio, Ivan Richards Audio.
Yeah. So all boutiquey.
Aussie
You
stuff.
kind of call them boutique,
Yeah.
but the word, I don't know what the word means anymore. They're just nice pedals, not really
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
Not really expensive. Good pedals that I'm confident about, so I can take them to a gig. I know that they're going to give me a particular sound.
Yeah.
You know.
On that note too, Bob, you've got a signature guitar as well.
Oh,
don't
I
you?
have too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cole Clark, the Bob Spencer model, which is made from 100% sustainable Australian woods
Yeah.
That's an angel
nice guitar
bunya, isn't
too.
it? Is it bunya?
with a bunya
Bunya
top.
top,
I
yeah.
really like bunya tops. They sound sweet
Yeah.
to my ears. And Blackwood back and sides. Beautiful guitar for me. I spent a lot of time choosing the woods for the guitar out at the Cole Clark factory, and if I lost my guitar tomorrow, then I would be happy to just grab a fresh one off the rack and play that, because they're all that consistently well made. So it's a great guitar for my purposes. It specifically doesn't have a really big bottom end. and doesn't have a really bright top end, and that's because I'm just interested in primarily in how it sounds recorded, and I find guitars with a big bottom end, when you play them in the shop, you get to record them, and the first thing you do is try and get rid of the bottom end because it's just waffling. So I'm interested in sounds that sit in the mix. For me, that's what I'm interested in. Other guitar players are looking for different things, but that's what I'm looking for. So it's specifically tailored to please me, and I hope it pleases other people as well. And there's also a new Cole Clark pickup, the DSP one, which is stupidly good. It's just astonishing. It's astonishing.
Yeah. So that's a project of Paul Gale.
Paul Gale, So Paul Gale's the mad scientist upstairs in R&D, and he's doing a beautiful job with the pickup. The pickup, when I heard it up at Paul's office, I told Paul what it sounded like with someone. It's as though someone has just put a $10,000 microphone in front of the guitar. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm using D'Addario NY-XL strings, which sound beautiful, and really importantly, they don't have that weird chemical plastic thing
Coating.
going on.
The
Coating.
effect.
I don't like coated strings. I just don't like them. I know other people like them, and that's great. Not a problem. I do not like them. So the D'Addarios feel just like strings to me, and they hold their tuning, and you can abuse them. They don't seem to break, and you can leave them on your guitar for months, which is crazy.
All right. Should we just confirm some dates? So the Bob Workshop is on the 16th of November.
Yes, there's a Facebook.
So they claim.
There's a Facebook event page, so you can access that from our Facebook page and click attending. So as I said, there's only limited spots. We're taking in 30 people for this first one. It's free. There's going to be some food and drink there, potentially.
Maybe.
If I'm feeling generous. Everyone gets a bottle of water and a potato chip each.
So and it's all free, and it's with Bob, and he's going to be teaching some pretty cool stuff, I would suspect.
I hope so.
I'll be there.
And we'd like to know what you would like covered.
Yeah, so you can also comment in that event section as well with your ideas on what you'd like Bob to do a workshop on.
Yeah, no pole dancing. There will be no pole dancing. Not by me, anyway.
Some disappointed
Weekend
people
Warriors.
Yeah.
Weekend Warriors, we've got tentatively down as the 25th of March for the gig.
Great.
And the jam day will be on the 11th of February.
So
waiting on confirmation, but that should happen.
early next year, we'll certainly be running our next round.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to
We
that.
want bass players and drummers.
And if you know anybody that you think, hey, this would work for them, let them know. It'll be on our website.
Yep.
You know, get in touch with us, with me. I'll give you the rundown.
But seriously, bass players, drummers.
We had a few
Hot
drummers
property.
last time. It's bass players. Bass players, definitely.
Yeah, normally, of
I'm
course.
sick of playing bass for them. I have fun.
Yeah. All right.
And do you have a confirmed time frame that your solo album is going to be coming out?
Yes, it will be released at the end of November.
And what would Molly
Just in
say?
time for Christmas.
What would Molly say? He'd probably say, "This
Do
sounds
yourself
like
a favour.
rock. I don't understand it. It's rock."
Do yourself a
He'd
favour.
probably say.
Yes, they do yourself a favour. All
Great.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bob. Thanks for coming
Thank
in.
you. Thanks.
No worries.
We'll see you next week.